This movie has a lot of animals in it. I'm SirDinosaur from Planet X, and now it's time for a movie review. So there's a cat looking at its reflection as it stands alone by the water. Then it's walking around in this forest where there's a lot of cat statues. Then it gets chased around by a bunch of dogs, cause, dogs like to chase cats for some reason. The cat hides, the dogs lose the cat, and the cat is like, oh cool, I'm safe. But then the dogs come back and ignore the cat. Something's up. Then a bunch of other animals run past the cat in a stampede. Then there's a big flood. The cat gets swept away in the water. Uh-oh, I hear cats don't like bodies of water. The cat gets back on land, sees a dog, and is like, nope. This dog is more friendly though. The cat comes upon a large bird, and the dog barks at the bird to defend the cat when the cat gets spooked. I think the dog wants to be friends with the cat, but the cat is like, nope, you're a dog, leave me alone. Maybe eventually the cat will come around. The cat finds a house with a bed and stuff and baubles hanging from the ceiling and a drawing of a cat plus statues of the cat out front. I wonder what that's about. This animation style is really pretty, by the way. The dog barks a lot and the other dogs from before show up in a rowboat. The friendly dog gets in the rowboat and looks at the cat like, hey, come with us. But the cat's like, nah, I don't trust it. The cat climbs up to the top of the really big cat statue and it can see up to the horizon now. But the flood is rising and it's even covering the whole house. So the cat sees a sailboat and it decides, okay fine, I'll get in the sailboat. I guess I have to. Turns out there's a capybara in the boat. The capybara just kind of goes over and looks at the cat being all like, hey dude, I'm a capybara. Cappies are chill. Then it goes to sleep. The cat gets more comfortable then. It's like, alright, I guess I can deal with a capybara. So it goes to sleep. But the next morning, there's other animals on the boat. There's a lemur there now and the bird from earlier, so the cat gets freaked out and tries to fend for itself. It tries to fish, loses the boat, gets rescued accidentally by a whale, and then snatched up by the bird before it's dropped back down on the sailboat. The bird gives it a look like, you're welcome. Then the cat's like, alright, I guess I'll stay on the boat. And the sailboat drifts past a statue of a human person. Then the boat drifts towards a set of ruins and the lemur is there now and the water is still rising, so the capybara is like, yo, get in the boat, dude. Stop screwing around and grabbing all these bottles and jars and stuff. And it helps getting the lemur's basket of junk in the boat so the lemur will tag along. Then the lemur brings the basket into the covered part of the boat where the cat is, and the lemur's like, hey man, I'm your new roomie. And the cat's like, get your tail out of my face. Also, it looks like the lemur's prized possession is a fancy-looking hand mirror. The capybara sees some fruit hanging off of trees, so it grabs some and brings it on the boat for everybody. I think the capybara is basically the captain at this point. I'll call him Captain Cappy. The cat dreams about a bunch of deer, they land again, and they meet the friendly dog again. Apparently there are a lot of birds on this land though, and they get like territorial and hostile. One bird tries to stand up for the other animals, but it gets bullied and beaten in a fight by the leader bird. The nice bird is injured now, so it joins the other animals on the boat. Then they start passing by more stuff and other animals. They see a bunch of lemurs and they go through an abandoned city that is like halfway underwater. The dog and the bird play fetch for a bit with the ball, but the ball goes in the water. Whoops. All the animals now have a kind of little society going on in this boat for a few seconds. Then the monkey screws around, makes things a little chaotic, knocks Captain Cappy and the cat off the boat, and gets the sail stuck on a tree. Now the cat really wants to get back on the boat. Things have changed a bit. Captain Cappy sees an opportunity and it goes over to get the ball that the friendly dog lost in the water. But there's a scary looking whale or shark thing nearby, and Captain Cappy is like, nope, never mind, so it gets back on the boat with the cat and the other animal. The aquatic animal jumps out of the water and turns out it is a whale. The big splash it makes dislodges the boat from the tree and now they're sailing again. The cat seems happy to be back on the boat and more confident now. It's getting better at fishing, so it catches some fish and brings them back on the boat. The cat brought a lot of fish on the boat and it even gives fish to the other animals. The cat is becoming a team player. They sail towards some more ruins and they see the other dogs in one building stranded. The bird clearly doesn't want to help them at first, but the other animals go plead with it and eventually Captain Cappy steers the boat towards the other dogs. Now there are a lot of dogs on this boat. The bird did not seem pleased about this, and the cat is like, yo, other dogs, I did not offer you all these fish I caught, what the heck? Then the other dogs start like trying to intimidate the lemur, and I'm like, yeah, bringing those other dogs on board may have been a mistake. The other dogs and the friendly dog fight over the lemur's hand mirror and it breaks. Now I'm mad at the other dogs for being jerks. The cat goes up to the top of the mast, looks out at a graveyard of boats, and now the animal's sailboat is in a storm. Uh-oh. The waves get super choppy, the cat falls off the mast and goes splat on the deck. Ultimately, it's okay though. All the animals except the bird are taking shelter from the rain. The cat goes to look at where the bird flew off to, and it goes overboard again. Now it's nowhere near the boat. Oh no! The cat gets to shore, but it's pretty far from the boat now. So the cat is on its own again. It climbs up these rock steps into an abandoned mountain village. The cat finds the bird near the top of the village, standing on some sort of stone carving on the ground, and they both float up in the air. The cat floats back to the ground, but the bird flies up to a bright light, and now it's gone. Whoa! The cat is on its own again. It keeps exploring and it sees the boat once more. Oh man, now the cat is swimming out to sea, trying to catch up with the boat. Luckily, it finds the ball floating in the water, so it's got something to grab onto. Suddenly, the water starts to go down really fast. You guys, the flood is ending. Then the cat comes across a bunch of lemurs in some ruins. It's looking for its lemur friend, but the cat doesn't see it right away. When the cat leaves the group of lemurs, the lemur friend shows up. It takes the cat towards some rocky areas where the forest reaches a cliff and sees that the sailboat got stuck on a tree on the way down. Captain Cappy is there with the friendly dog and the other dogs, but how are they going to get down? The animals on the boat get all excited and they accidentally put too much pressure on the branch so it starts to break. The dogs get off the boat, but Captain Cappy is stuck up there still. So the cat finds a rope from the sailboat slung over a tree branch. It gets the rope down, so the friendly dog and the monkey and the other dogs start pulling the boat closer to the cliff so Captain Cappy can jump to safety. They get a setback when the other dogs get distracted by the sight of a bunny rabbit and run off. Ugh, freaking selfish other dogs. But the cat, friendly dog, and lemur managed to get Captain Cappy to safety. Phew, that was close. The cat hears an odd-sounding noise and goes to investigate. It finds the whale is lying on the grass. Uh-oh, this is a problem. Whales are supposed to be in the water. The cat immediately goes over to the whale and is nice to it, since the whale is probably not going to be around much longer. The cat's come a long way when you think about it. At the beginning of the movie, it was a loner and suspicious of any animal that showed up. Whenever another animal tried to say hi, the cat would just run away. But now it's going up to other animals to be nice. So at the end, the cat looks at its reflection in the water. Captain Cappy and the friendly dog and the lemur stand next to the cat to look at their reflections in the water too. We see that things are back to normal, but now the cat has friends. This is a great example of a movie that's good for kids. It's a nice little movie about animals learning to coexist during a time of crisis, and in particular about one animal learning how to be a good friend and a team player. This movie is a smaller independent film from Europe that maybe not a lot of people have seen here in America, but it's really good and it won an Oscar, so hopefully more people will watch it.